All right, morning everyone. Welcome to another episode of Market Trading. I am your host, Tone Vays, coming to you at a proper hour. We are 30 minutes before market open. Let's go take a look at what's going on. And then I will stick around with you for that market open. I got a hard stop at 10 a.m. Eastern time because I want to join Swan Spaces. I have not been in Swan Spaces in probably a month. And I'm really curious what people like Joe Carlosari have to say about the whole Coinbase thing and Binance situation. I haven't read the case, haven't read the docket yet. Sub Bitcoin motorist, thank you for joining. And you already retracted your message, which I'm not sure exactly why. Okay, well, you didn't finish your word. Good evening from Tokyo. Hey, Michael. Yeah, thanks for joining from Tokyo. As you know, I was just there. Okay, let's go to the charts. Oh, not sure why I opened that. Let me close that. Let me close that. Okay, let's go to the charts. Oh no, wait. Before I go to chart, I'm gonna have to show you guys one toy that I got from Japan. One more toy. Check this out. Let me not mess myself up. Boom. This is a carbon steel knife, and it's freaking awesome. And those that can read Japanese, actually, I gotta ask which way it's supposed to be. I'm not sure which way is upside down or not. That says Tone Vays. Well, at least it should say Tone Vays in Japanese, and then you see it on the other side in English. So this is going to be my new kitchen knife. It is they're super sharp. You hear it, right? And I got to be super careful. It razor thin blade, and it's not to be used on frozen food or bones or anything like that. It's only for, well, I'm not going to be chopping many vegetables with it. It's mostly for cutting meat, either defrosted meat or cooked meat. So super cool. My new toy. All right. It does say Tone Vays. People are confirming. Yes, thank you. Thoughts on the Coinbase situation? So I don't really know what the Coinbase situation is. So this is why guys, I just flew in from Japan. I saw the Binance news. I have not read anything on the Coinbase news. I'm just not up to date. So that's why I want to join Swan's Spaces at exactly 10 a.m. Hopefully they will explain the Coinbase news. What I assume the Coinbase news is, now that the SEC has come out and stated that everything other than Bitcoin is a shitcoin security, then Coinbase may be forced to stop letting you trade and buy scam coins, which is great. So they may have to, what was that list? Someone sent me the whole shit list. Let me see here, man. Here, this might be the list. Binance, Solana, Cardano, Polygon, Cody. What the hell's Cody? Algorand, no clue what that is. Filecoin, Cosmos, Sandbox, XC Infinity, no idea what that is, and Decentraland are all securities. I completely agree with this list by the SEC. I mean, I don't even know what Cody or Algorand is, but I agree that they are securities. I'm surprised, the Hex scam is not on this list, and many others. The Pulse chain and whatever else. So I'm surprised this list is so short. But yeah. So like I said, I agree with it. You guys aren't looking at the list, but I was. So I'm assuming that Coinbase will have to stop letting you buy securities. That's my guess. I really don't know what a Coinbase news is. Well, you can still buy Bitcoin. None of it stops you buying Bitcoin. It only shows you that how much more valuable Bitcoin is, because Bitcoin is not a security. And not that we really should care what the government says. The question is, what can the government enforce? And the government can enforce, Coinbase stopping to trade in securities unless they have a securities license. So all these shit coins like BNB, like Solana, like Cardano, they are welcome to petition a licensed regulated exchange, like the NASDAQ, like the New York Stock Exchange, like several others. And they can go and get their scams listed on those exchanges. And they're more because they're securities. So go ahead and get it listed on those exchanges. Like, go get it listed on the NASDAQ. And you know what? If BNB gets listed on the NASDAQ, it would be way better than being listed on Coinbase, for example, for Binance. SEC forgets Ethereum. No, they don't forget Ethereum. It's just that Gary Gensler knows he can't go after Ethereum. They can't even take down Ripple, for God's sakes. All right, let's go to charts. Here's the weekly chart. We still have plenty of time this week to reverse this candle. But so far, oh, someone sent me the Coinbase news. Today we charged Coinbase Inc. with operating its crypto asset trading platform as an unregistered national securities exchange, broker, and clearing agency, and for failing to register the offer and sale of its crypto asset staking as a service program. Okay, so this actually has nothing to do with these shitcoins. This has nothing to do with the Binance security and the Cardano security and the Solana security. This has to do with their other stupidity that they had, their staking as a service. These are, of course, dumb initiatives by a terrible CEO by offering security products that earn an interest without registering them as securities, without disclosing the risk of these stake scams, and the SEC is being nailed for it. They'll probably get away with a fine. It's not that big a deal. And I don't think people are making too big a deal out of it than they should. Law show. I don't know, probably from the woods this summer. I'll try to get the law show back. All right. Weekly chart. I don't like this candle, but we need to complete this candle. And today is only Tuesday. So there's still plenty of time to get back above both moving averages. If we don't get above both moving averages, the next level of support is the $24,500 area. And then also the short-term moving average, the intermediate term moving average, which is a 50-period moving average on a weekly scale down at 22.5. Still, there's something wrong with the 4-day candle chart. It's super annoying. I can flip this to the daily chart and it's fine. And now I go to the 4-day chart and it's completely messed up. Like, the end of that chart seems accurate, but the start of that chart is inaccurate because it's supposed to start down here. And these candles tend to correct themselves when the next candle begins. So I don't really know what the hell is going on. It's just like a bad candle print, super annoying. But we lowered our allocation to 50%. I will probably stay with this allocation for now because the long-term moving average is rising. Tonebase.com, those are looking to learn how to trade and are interested in trading, have a free learn trading section. I definitely don't recommend you trading without any education. And then there is something a little more advanced. The on-demand videos are right here at a very reasonable price, and the MRI indicator as well. Don't forget about the financial summit taking place in the UAE, November 5 to 12, 5 to 10, where we talk about all things finance, investing, trading, and how to make money. And Unconfiscatable is coming back to Las Vegas, December 7 and 8. Don't forget to sign up for our awesome poker tournament right there. That's my Twitter. Not really that important. You know, I never got around to watching the hearings. So that kind of sucks. Oh, we'll go back to Twitter in a bit. Daily chart. I see this downward trending channel on the daily chart. We are at the bottom of the channel and we are on an MRI 6. So maybe down a little bit more over the next few days. And then I can easily see a rally. I would become super bullish on an MRI buy back into the middle of the channel and that 128-day moving average, which will now serve as resistance. This chart looks somewhat ugly, and I really don't like how the 128-day may not be very good support now. But it could also be similar to what happened right here, where we clearly went above the 128-day, but it didn't last, and then we crashed down. Though this was a bit external. This was the FTX, scam being exposed, and this time it's Binance and Coinbase. I think these are, buy the dip situations for Bitcoin, one or both of them. So let's see what happens next. Jimmy G, thank you so much for the support. Yes, I also agree that Unconfiscatable is the best Bitcoin conference in the world. Someone wants me to take a look at Ethereum. That's fine. Unconfiscatable poker is filling up. Yes, it is. It's slowly filling up. Get your seat soon. Okay, next. Short-term chart. Well, not a good start to the day, which gives me more reason to join the Swan Spaces in 45 minutes. GBTC will, of course, go down as well once the market opens, and the discount will likely drop a bit. Oil. Well, I can't wait for the next release of the petroleum reserve. Man, when this thing goes under 300 million barrels, that's going to be real funny. Well, not really, but fine. Natural gas. I still think natural gas is going to start its bullish cycle soon. That's a good question. Are your friends now buying Bitcoin at 25,000 who missed the previous run? I'm going to lean towards no. I haven't spoken to them in a couple of days because, again, of my travels. I'm going to say that they are now scared as shit to buy Bitcoin at 25,000 because of all the news surrounding Binance and Coinbase. So all the people that were waiting to buy Bitcoin at 25,000 when it was 30,000, and they were all saying, I'm going to buy it when it hits 25,000. Right now, this is perfect support. I think this is an incredible buying opportunity. But of course, those that have been waiting for 25,000 and praying for 25,000, they usually wait and pray for 25,000 while there's good news. Because most people just don't comprehend that the only way Bitcoin can get from 30,000 to 25,000 is on bad news, not on good news. And when it gets there on bad news, they are scared that the government's going to shut it down. So I highly doubt anyone is going to be, they're all going to go MIA and still missing out on a buying opportunity. So Twitter Spaces is on Twitter. You go to Twitter, you go to your homepage, you follow, well, I'm not on your phone. This is not on your phone, not on Twitter Spaces. Isn't really designed. Oh, there it is. Listen live in Spaces. Right now, there's this space going on. And if you follow Swan, you will see their spaces right here at 10 a.m. And then you can simply click on it. It's a Twitter thing. So like you don't need a link. You just need to follow Swan on Spaces. There, Swan Bitcoin. You follow Swan, or you just go to their Twitter because they post their Spaces links every single day. It is right there. But it's not going to start until the top of the hour. Okay, next. So right now, we are at just above 300 million barrels. And very, very soon, we're going to go under that threshold, which would be super interesting. Gold, as you guys know, I am bullish on gold. And it looks like we're bouncing off very critical support. S&P, I'm also bullish on the S&P. Let's see how we're looking in the pre-market and the futures market. It's opening up flat, so we just have to wait and see for 10 more minutes. I don't know if I'm going to actually be here streaming this whole time. Man, I really enjoyed talking about whiskey yesterday. And then, of course, the purists of whiskey send me info like, Tone, bourbon doesn't have to come from Kentucky, even though 90% of bourbon comes from Kentucky. And there's like a giant list of the criteria for it to be bourbon. And apparently only the people in Kentucky can follow that list. And yes, bourbon can be made in other states. It's not state specific. It is criteria specific. It has to use new barrels. It has to be at least 51% corn. Like it's got all of this criteria. Also, apparently, Scotch never uses rye. I guess it only uses barley. So again, that's regulation on Scotch. I did say that properly. Scotch and bourbon has very strict regulation on how it can be made. And if it's whiskey, it's whiskey. I mean, the whiskey can be made from pretty much anything, just like gin. Gin is just a bunch of grass. And whiskey is, similar. Like 10 different things can make a whiskey. Okay, silver futures. Oh wow, look at that MRI top. I was gonna look at something. Oh, I was gonna look at the Australian stock market. So I'm always surprised that the country of Australia hasn't fully collapsed yet. But it looks like they're about to start. Let's look at ASX. What the hell is it? I should have it here somewhere. Do I not have the Australian stock market? That's really strange. Oh, okay. No, these might be Australian. Yeah, there it is. Both of them are Australian. Though it's not what I was looking at this morning. Hold on. ASX Limited. Someone sent me a chart of ASX Limited. Interesting. Oh, yes, this is the real Aussie market. Oh, yeah. Okay. So what are the other ones? I should add ASX here. ASX Limited. Like sometimes the tickers in, let's do that. This is going to be my Australian index. Why is XJO so different? SPX ASX. Maybe I don't think it's a ratio. I mean, this is ASX 200. I don't know. Well, let's look at the ASX. And this is an ugly looking chart. Look at that. ASX is a stock exchange company. Okay. This is not the index, that's a company. Yeah, but why is it, end of day and not like intraday? Right, so XJO is the stock exchange, so that is the total Aussie index. Okay, that's what I thought. So ASX is the company, so never mind that. So I misread the chart this morning. So the Australian stock market actually seems to be doing okay, probably because their currency's been collapsing. Now, the company that runs the exchange, this chart is ugly, super ugly. Look at this break of support. That's a very ugly chart. Very ugly chart. And XJO is actually surprisingly doing okay. I don't know how to explain this. I don't know how the Australian companies are doing so good. I mean, are they even allowed to go back to work yet? Like, I have no idea what's going on in Australia. Like, as far as I know, they're still locked down. Hey, Zazo, thanks for joining. I don't really have an opinion on SPX equal weight. US dollar. I remain bullish on the US dollar. And US dollar versus the Australian dollar. So the Australian dollar is dropping, and that could help explain the steadiness of the stock market price in Australia. Yeah, I agree with you, beach guy. It's hard to live in a country that doesn't give you the right to bear arms. I'm in Panama. I pretty much live in Panama now, and they apparently have very loose gun laws. I don't even need. I can just go and get a carry permit. I'm probably gonna do that sometime this summer. I really would rather like learn Spanish first before I go get a gun permit, but I can easily go and get a gun permit. And it's a concealed carry. So I can conceal carry in Panama. Just, you know, fill out an application. It takes like a week. It's super easy apparently. The guns are super expensive there though. It's like 5x the price of the US. But yeah, more advantages for Panama. So super. It's probably why the crime is so low there. Because I had no idea that the gun rights was so good down in Panama. All right, so there was a huge development in the Russia-Ukraine situation. Though this is not that. Yep, 75% chance there's no raise. So the huge development, let me go to my Twitter. Home. No, that's not it. How do I just go to my Twitter profile? El Salvador over Panama. Maybe in a few years when they have some more infrastructure. So the huge development in the Ukraine situation is this. Did I like the thing with the damn? Oh, I didn't shoot. It sucks when you don't hit the like button because then it's so hard to find those tweets. I don't think I'm gonna find it, unfortunately. Unfortunately, I won't find it. It was a simulation. The hell is this? There was a simulation on what's going to happen when a dam breaks, and I kind of wanted to play that video, but I have no idea where. It sucks when you don't hit the like button. And it might not have even been in the following section. It might have been in this For You section, which is more confusion. So that's what happened in Ukraine. Everyone is already speculating, did the Russians blow up the dam? Did the Ukrainians blow up the dam? You can make the argument for either side. Both sides had a reason to blow the dam of the electrical power plant, hydro power plant. It's a cool tweet on that simulation. Like it just shows you like which way the water is gonna go. But it's all right, come on, Twitter. Sucks I never hit the like button. And the simulation was from 2020. Yeah, it's not gonna work. This is not gonna work. Especially when Twitter doesn't even work. Oh well. Yeah, that's too bad. Like someone asked me about it. This is how I ended up looking into it this morning when I woke up. Yeah, I did reply to this tweet with my opinion on, but this was basically an uninformed opinion before I looked into it, but I still think it's fairly accurate. Let me see if that simulation is in replies to these tweets. This is not the one, but no, see, that's if the entire dam is blown, but they didn't blow the entire dam. It's only the top of it. This actually does not affect the water going to Crimea. So you can see even from this video, you see this little stream that's going down. That's the water to Crimea. This water goes in there prior to where the dam was. So the water will still get to Crimea. So this does not affect Crimea as much as I initially suspected when the incident happened a few hours ago. This is what it looks like. Now, of course, some people are going to immediately assume Ukraine did it. Some people are going to immediately assume Russia did it. Though this tweet doesn't say it, but Zelensky immediately tweeted and said Russia did it. Other tweets are saying Ukraine did it. So I mean, we're going to know soon. Russia hasn't said anything officially yet, and Ukraine just says everything. Like so here's the problem. Ukraine will immediately say it was Russia, so you can't take that statement credibly. Now, Russia is going to say something else eventually. They probably already said it. I haven't seen it yet. But I don't know what Russia is going to say. Russia can say that we did it because there is an advantage for Russia to do this. Now, that's not the simulation I wanted. So that kind of sucks. Man. I wish I hit the like button when I saw that tweet. Too bad. I don't know if I'll see it again. I'm trying to Google for it on a different monitor. It was a really good simulation. Similar to the one you were just watching on the other tweet, but not as... It was better than this. It was like a better simulation. And it was from last year, like the analysis of what would happen. But in any case, we can look at one of these pictures. And I can explain what's going on and why this would be advantageous and bad for either side. What the hell is this? Huh, that's interesting. Yeah, scrolling through my Twitter is a complete and utter nightmare. So let's find any chart. Not chart, but I just saw it. Where did they go? It's like things just disappear from Twitter. It's kind of crazy. Like I just saw it scroll down for a minute and it's gone. Just gone. They're always gone. Like every single tweet that I'm like, oh, that's an interesting tweet. Like 30 seconds later, it's gone. What the hell is that? Man. All right, I guess we have to just look at this. But I kind of want to pause it. Okay, so let's pause it. Oh, perfect pause. Okay, so if you look at the Ukrainian map, right, Russia used to occupy all this land north of this river. And when they did, this dam was a huge liability for the Russians. And that's why there were all these articles. That's why there were all these articles from a year ago about the plans of Ukrainians bombing the hydroelectric plant in order to flood the Russian position there. likes. Maybe I liked one of those tweets. I'm not even sure. Yeah, here it is. Okay. Kolchev considered flooding the river. The Ukrainians, he said, even conducted a test strike with HIMARS launcher on one of the floodgates, right? So this is from the Washington Post. So this is last year. There were simulated tests by Ukrainians to blow this up in order to flood the area. Now, here's more of the same. New York Times as well. The Ukrainians flooded the village. So that was their plan. But this plan was put together when Russians were occupying both sides of the river. Now, as you guys know, there was a Kherson and Zaporozhye offensives late last year, where the Russians were driven down to south of this river. So if we go to Ukraine live map, so this is the area Russians used to occupy. And when the Ukrainian offensive happened, Russians moved south of the river. Now, Ukraine saw this as a major victory that they've driven the Russians away. One of the reasons why the Russians had no problem leaving this area is because they knew this dam was a monster liability, huge liability. And if they were still occupying both of these areas and Ukraine blew it up, like the way it just happened, but in a more severe way, then a lot of people over here would die. And at that point, it would mostly be occupied by Russians. Today, this area is 50-50. And one of the areas that's going to flood the most is these areas down here. And right now, the Ukrainians are evacuating their soldiers from this area, which kind of makes you believe that maybe the Russians did it, because the Ukrainians did not prepare and evacuate their people. But if you've been paying attention to this war, Ukraine has done many, many things that baffled the mind. So don't assume that just because Ukraine did not evacuate their people from this area, they did not blow it up. We've seen it many times that they do stupid shit like that. Now, what's the advantage of the Russians blowing it up? Well, the advantage is if Russia feels that Ukraine actually has the ability to go down south and create this big offensive, flooding this area would help prevent the Ukrainian offensive towards Crimea. So this would significantly slow down Ukrainians from creating the offensive in that area. On the flip side, where would the Ukrainian advantage be of flooding? Well, one is obviously it's going to be blamed on the Russians that they are, destroying non-military infrastructure and destroying the land that they're now occupying. But if Ukraine was bullshitting about that offensive and they have no ability to actually create a strong offensive in this area, then blowing up the dam serves two purposes for the Ukrainians. One, they can now blame the Russians, saying that, well, we would have had the offensive and we would have succeeded in the offensive and we would have taken Crimea back if the Russians didn't blow up the dam and prevent us from creating the offensive, because now the Ukrainian tanks can't move. Also, if Ukraine had no ability to do an offensive, and they know that Russia is going to go, when Russia realizes Ukraine can't do their offensive, Russia would start the offensive and take all of this great territory back. By Ukraine blowing up the dam and moving their soldiers out of this area, it prevents the Russians from taking this area back anytime soon. So those are the major advantages for Ukrainians to blow up the dam. So that's 3 advantages right there. One is it gives them an excuse not to do an offensive. 2 is it prevents the Russians from taking this territory back. And 3 is they get to blame the Russians because that everything gets blamed on the Russians. Like, your dog ate your homework has now become the Russians did it. And so those are 3 reasons. And for the Russians, it's just one reason. And that reason is if they are actually scared of the Ukrainian offensive, this slows down the Ukrainian offensive. Now, if you ask me, my opinion on the matter, now that a few hours have passed and I read a little more about it, I am leaning towards the Ukrainians did it, but not with very high confidence. It could have been the Russians. The Russians haven't said anything yet, but Ukrainians said it, 3 seconds after it happened that the Russians did it. So take those statements for whatever they are. So it's a very interesting development. By the way, Russia has already started taking this gray area back, some of it, and I think that is about to speed up. So we'll see how that goes. All right, markets are open. Let's go back to the charts. That is a very important development, by the way. It is a hit to critical infrastructure. And the main reason why this is so important for everyone on this planet is because whichever side did it, and again, if Ukraine did it, and I'm not saying they did, I'm just saying if they did, though I do lean in that direction. If they did it, the real trouble is here. The real trouble is the nuclear power plant in Zaporozhye. This is the Zaporozhye nuclear power plant, which is almost fully shut down, and it's operating with like 70% less employees than it used to. And I'm worried, I'm not worried that the Russians are going to blow it up. I'm not really concerned about that. But I am concerned that the Ukrainians might blow it up. And just like I don't think they care that they had their own soldiers in the path of the Russian water, I don't think they're going to care that the wind pattern in this region of the world blows not into Russia, but it blows into Ukraine and into the rest of Europe. And I just don't think they care. So I can see them blowing it up just to blame it on the Russians, saying, oh, you see, the Russians blow up a nuclear power plant, and now the Polish are dying and from cancer, and the Czechoslovakians and all these other countries. The Europeans are now, poisoned with radiation, creating an environment to get NATO boots on the ground. So that's the real concern. That is why this is why I'm talking about it, because it's really, really important. Oh, by the way, since I'm on my Twitter and I'm in the like section of my Twitter, where was I? Yeah, I mean, I saw this video like, I don't know, like 10 years ago. I wonder if it's still a 10-year-old video. But yes, there is literally they just burned tires in Kuwait, and this tweet is like cow farts are apparently a problem. So I've known about this. So the amount of ice on this planet has actually increased, and that is why I am more concerned about a mini ice age coming, and not a warming. So the estimate in Antarctica is that we have 661 billion tons of ice added over the last decade. And the estimates were that Antarctica ice is gonna like disappear and flood the oceans, but in reality, the amount of ice in Antarctica has actually gone up. So the amount of ice on the planet has actually gone up. So all that bullshit about global warming and the rise in sea level just makes no sense whatsoever. But that's a whole different issue on climate change. If somehow Trump wins the election, do you think Russia pause the expansion? No, I don't. I really don't. I don't see Russia giving a shit anymore about who the American president is. The days of the world caring about who the American president is are done. With the last Biden election, it no longer matters. Like the United States, they can elect Trump. You know, they can elect anyone. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. They can elect Robert F. Kennedy Jr. They can elect DeSantis. I mean, they can elect Klaus Schwab. They can elect Fauci. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, the world doesn't care. It doesn't care at all. They can elect Ron Paul. Like, the world doesn't care. Okay, stock charts, not stock charts. Bitcoin charts. Markets are open. You can see Bitcoin rebounding. Very nice. Let's see how the stock market is doing. Stock market is dropping. Bitcoin is rebounding. Like I said, this news doesn't actually affect Bitcoin. It affects like shitty companies. Two companies I'm not a fan of, Binance and Coinbase. I'm pretty sure Coinbase stock is down huge. It's not that bad, but it's a shitty looking chart. Coinbase is just a terrible company. Oh yeah, what about Apple? Is it up or down? Let's see. Let's find out. Apple is both. It's up and down on a weekly scale. What about the daily scale? It's got to be down. Well, it was both up and down. What about the MRI? Let's see. The MRI is really important to me. Let's wait for the MRI. So the MRI is probably going to miss its MRI top on a daily scale. Let's see what alphanumerics has to say. I'm going to have math on probably next week to talk about alphanumerics. Yeah, the MRI isn't being very useful on Apple. Nope. Apple might have topped. This is an all-time high for Apple. But I think Apple will do well in the future. It can pull back down into the moving averages. But it looks good. I would say it now has support here. It's likely to close this gap and then go higher. And Tesla looks bullish. It's going to be very hard for Trump to get elected. The current problem that audio recording, that sneaky audio recording about Trump saying he has a classified military document is actually a big problem, a big legal problem for Trump. He can get arrested for that. Now, all the other stuff that they tried to arrest him for was bullshit, but this one is actually legit. So now there is a legit case against Trump, and it's possible that Trump could be arrested over it. Now, I still think arresting Trump is a very bad idea because it can create another, protest at the Capitol with twice as many people, and this time everybody brings guns. I think that can happen if Trump gets arrested. So the current U.S. government needs to be real careful in arresting Trump, even though they do have a legit case to potentially arrest him. Is Coinbase platform safe to invest? Probably, but again, I wouldn't touch it. If you want to buy Bitcoin, buy it from Swan. Speaking of Swan, I'm going to go to Swan Spaces, guys. Thank you all for watching. And check out the conferences on Confiscatable and the Financial Summit. And I will see you all on the next one. Bye, guys.